Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I have a pretty interesting voyage for you. This is a trip that I've long wanted to do, and it literally just fell into my lap. Now back in 2021, a skipper who lives in Valdez, Alaska contacted our harbor department here in Juneau, Alaska, and said that he was looking for crew to help him deliver his boat from Juneau to Valdez, Alaska. He'd apparently purchased a 42-foot Kadey Krogen trawler in Seattle, brought it up the inside passage with a couple of friends without a working autopilot. Now, I know what you're thinking, but on the inside passage, that's actually not a problem because you're only about 4 to 8 hours away from the next suitable anchorage. Now, the owner, whose name is Jim, was told by my friend Patrick, who works for the harbor department, to contact me, which he did. And then after talking to Jim, I sort of advised him that we need 3 people. Yourself, myself, and another crew member to help do this delivery of 600 miles in 4 days. We also need a working autopilot. So I contacted my friend Patrick and said, look, you really need to take a week off from work and do this trip. Now, as I recall, neither Jim nor Patrick had done any overnight passage making that I was aware of, so I kind of figured this would be a good learning opportunity. So with the crew secured, Jim flew back to Valdez, I should say back to Juneau, and then Patrick and I went down and toured the boat and found that it was in more or less like new condition with very low hours on the engine. And you know what, as fate would have it, Patrick actually knew how to fix the hydraulic pump on the autopilot. So with, everything lining up, I made a burnt offering to the weather gods and found out that we had a week's worth of favorable weather to get us across the Gulf of Alaska from about July the 18th through July the 23rd. And this is the story of that trip. Now, let's strategize our route. After all, we're going to be on the open ocean going past one of the tallest coastal mountain ranges in the world, the St. Elias Range. We head out of Gastineau Channel, around South Douglas Island, up North Stevens Passage, around Point Retreat, past Point Couverden and into Icy Strait, making our way past Glacier Bay and into open waters outside of the notorious Cross Sound. I wanted to stick close to shore on the outside in case of bad weather, and I mapped out our anchorages in Fern Harbor, Dick's Arm on the outside, Graves Harbor, Thistle Cove, Lituya Bay, Yakutat Bay, and lastly, Icy Bay. After that, you're on your own until Prince William Sound. Indeed, this is a Nordhafen yacht, one of the finest and most comfortable motor yachts available. This entire trip will be about boats, from gigantic oil spill response boats to small fishing boats, and 2 boats from the wildly successful show Deadliest Catch, including this bizarre catamaran super yacht towing a dinghy that rivals the size of most sport fishing boats.
Plus it's staying the exact same distance behind them.
Somewhere on that boat, well, maybe that boat don't stay on that boat.
According to the United States Coast Guard, Point Retreat was constructed in 1904 and was first lit on September the 15th and displayed a fixed white light. Point Retreat was named by Joseph Whidbey, a member of the Royal Navy, on July 19, 1794, because of his need to retreat from local Tlingit natives. Kinda makes you wonder what he was up to. The lighthouse was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 2003.
That works really good.
Yeah, it works.
Like everything else, I think.
93.3 should be fine out here. Yeah, there should be an antenna problem where we're
Damn, it sounds so much better.
yeah, okay.
So it was 11:56 p.m. on the 18th, the night of the first day, and I suggested turning the beam angle downwards on the radar and turning up the gain control to help us spot any logs that might be in the water. We were in open water now, outside of Cross Sound, and the skipper, who'd never done any nighttime passages, was concerned about logs. Blips kept showing up on the radar in front and to the side of us, and then passing by the boat, so I got my big spotlight out and started spotting with it, and kept seeing jellyfish going by at about the same speed and distance as what we were seeing on the radar. Now the seas were calm, so I didn't think it was scatter from wave action, but rather the radar signal bouncing off the jellies, since they have more density than the water around them. You know, I could be mistaken, but it also happened again the next evening. Weird. Day 2, July 19th, 2021. Passing Yakutat and Icy Bay on my birthday.
Spotting your logs. If they're big enough, you can spot them on the radar. And this is the autopilot. We fixed that and it's working great. And then this is the vent counter for the pedal shaft. That's those jellyfish popping up.
tree out in the middle of the night.
You do?
Oh, thank you.
You do that. You do that to me. I don't know what it is.
You know, since this was my 62nd birthday and all, I took the whale sighting as a good omen. It was a good day indeed. On day 3, we made it past Kayak Island, around Cape Hinchinbrook, and then anchored at a wonderful spot called Garden Cove.
Alright, so the radar is set for 6 miles. Each ring is 2 miles. So dead ahead of us we have a non-buoy. That marks the end of the caution area around Kayak Island. The 2 little dots are part of the rock formation. It sticks up probably 20 feet above the water. So we're going outside of that, and we're going to go outside of the non-buoy, keeping it on our starboard side. So hopefully you can see the last bit of land on the end of Kayak Island. And then those 2 rocks that make up this shoaling right here. I'm not sure what the tide is right now, whether that's a wash at low tide or what. Okay, this is the entrance to Prince William Sound. This is what we call Cape Hinchinbrook. And we are going into a cove right around one of those 2 points. This gets us into Prince William Sound and out of the worst of the weather.
This is the Cape Hinchinbrook Lighthouse, established in 1910 and fully automated in 1974. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. In just a second, it'll flash. Rounding Cape Hinchinbrook, you're greeted by this rugged rock formation. We're just about to turn the corner into Port Etches, and at 10:30 p.m. after a long day, we'll snuggle up into our anchorage in Garden Cove. Because of the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil spill, barges that can hold spilled oil and rapid response vessels are permanently stationed at the entrance to Prince William Sound. Also, all oil tankers are now double-hulled, and the Coast Guard monitors tanker traffic via satellite, and tankers are required to have 2 escort vessels with them when entering or exiting the Sound. Okay, so let me give you a little running commentary on our anchoring procedure here. I'm about to advise Jim that we're in 36 feet of water. We're in 36. Okay. That's Patrick on the left and Jim on the right. Jim kicks the anchor off of the bow roller and then works the clutch mechanism to let it out. Here I'm putting it into reverse at idle just to help pull out some extra chain. And here he's deploying extra chain as well, now that the chain and anchor have hit the bottom. We did get to a point here where we felt like we needed to deploy more than 2-to-1 scope and go with 3-to-1. Here Jim is stepping on the chain itself to see if it's the chain and anchor is set. And he'd come back and I advised him to let out another 30 feet so that we get a 3-to-1 scope at least. And here I'm backing down hard to set the anchor. What I look for here is that the boat doesn't appear to be moving backwards any further. And Jim checks it with his foot once again, tells me to kill the engine. Now that the anchor was set in Garden Cove, we settled in for the evening around 11 p.m. after 3 days and 2 nights of a 4 hours on, 8 hours off watch schedule. Hey, tomorrow we explore Prince William Sound, see 2 boats from the Deadliest Catch television series, and make our way to Valdez, Alaska. Well, as they say, tomorrow never comes, but in part 2 of this video series due out next week, I promise we'll see sea otters, catch halibut and cod.
Oh yeah.
Ogle over 2 boats from the show Deadliest Catch, and zip past the world-class scenery of Prince William Sound at 20+ knots. In the meantime, my friends, remember the words of world-famous explorer Jacques-Yves Cousteau. The sea, once it casts its spell, holds one in its net of wonder forever.